So I would now like to invite Mr. PM Prasad, Chairman and Managing Director of Central Coalfields Limited. A brief introduction of Mr. PM Prasad. PM Prasad is the Chairman and Managing Director of Central Coalfields Limited. Alongside, he also holds the additional charge of CMD in BCCL. He has more than 36 years of experience in the mining industry.
Thank you, Mr. Krishna Mishra and organizing committee and all the respected fellow speakers, CMDs of all the subsidiaries, CMDs of different organizations. Good evening to all. Role of PSU, I need not elaborate much since all are working in PSUs and since the summit you are holding from the last 2-3 days. I can say the Maruti point. Maruti is a great example of Indian government. Initially started in 1982 with 76% stake and foreign collaboration 24%. In a span of 25 years, government could exit from the Maruti and given the total to privatization. So we all should be ready to accept changes. CPSEs are doing a commendable job in the nation building. You can see during the first 5-year plan, only 5 CPSEs are there. By 1920, there are about 348 CPSEs with a total investment of 16,40,000 crores. It is huge by any standards. Even in Fortune 500, 4 of our companies, 3 oil companies, ONGC, Oil India, BPCL, and SBI are faring very well, along with the international companies and so many other companies. Even in this pandemic, even Coal India, the company which I belong, is a Maratna company. CCL is a mini Ratna company. We are having 7 produce subsidiaries and 1 planning subsidiary company is there. During the entire pandemic, 24/7, workers and unions have cooperated, officers, and not even a single day, single shift was lost. And by this, we ensured national's energy security. You can see the recent energy consumption, power consumption, almost energy 200 gigawatts it has touched. In the few years only, we are touching 185 gigawatts. But here, in the last 2 months, there is a record power production is being met. And during this rainy season also, almost all power plants, bearing 15 plants, which are having less than 4 to 5 days stock. Most of the plants are having stock and their production capacity, they are meeting their optimum. Few plants are there during this rainy season are meeting with the less stocks. We are trying to ensure that within 1 month, up to the puja season, we will ensure that coal supplies will be continuous and no power plant will be in any critical condition. From this, I can say one thing, with the Coal India Limited, with its subsidiaries and having more than 80% coal production in the country. Last year, we have done about 730 million tons, out of which 602 million ton was produced by Coal India Limited. And this year, the target is 710 million ton. I am very much sure and confident with the present growth of the Coal India Limited, and rainy season will come to the end by September last. Already it is in growth in production and dispatches. With this trend, we will be able to match not only this year, and we can able to contribute in the nation's GDP. And during pandemic, across all the subsidiary companies, we have worked along with the district governments and state governments. CCL is especially located in Ranchi. It is spread over in 8 districts. In all the 8 districts, both the waves, wave 1, COVID wave 1 in last year, April, May, we have been working with district and state administrations. And even in this second phase of COVID, in this year, April and May, now we are giving CSR funds to install oxygen plants. In CCL, we have 2 central hospitals. having run with 110 beds in both one at Gandhinagar, Ranchi, and one at Naya Sarai. Besides COVID care centers, it has done a remarkable job. And we have received admission from laurels from district administration, several district administration. And we are setting oxygen plants for meeting the third wave at two places in Ranchi and Naya Sarai and one at Dhanbad in BCCL. Once these three oxygen plants, we can able to tackle the third wave. At least oxygen shortage will not be there, and number of beds are also being increased. And not only in production front, even in ecological tree plantation we have done. And the target this year, looking into the green energy, we have increased for tree plantation. Last year we have done 55 hectares. This year we are almost doubling that plantation. So if you see the company's ESG, the focus on ESG, both environmental, social, and governance angle. So ESG, the present focus, we want to maintain all the three subsections equally important, and not only on plantation, afforestation, and to adopt the best practices. In Coal India, we are having initially the truck transport is more dominant. Nowadays, we are going for first mile connectivities by making coal handling plants and by installing belt conveyors and silo loading. The wagon loading, traditionally it is by payloaders, which generates more dust. Now, instead of payloader, at many places, we will be loading through silos. One, it is faster loading of the wagons, the downtime is less, and the generation of dust is less. And developing green curtains along the railway sidings, yeah, and the interface between the colonies, and focusing on environment and adopting the best practices, and planning of more capacity mines, bigger capacity mines. Traditionally, it is 1 million, 2 million capacity mines. A number of small mines are there. Now, we are going for a bigger capacity mines and going for MDOs. Previously, the contracts models was 5 year to 6 year old. Now we are giving to a 25-year period, longer period, so that the developer, whomsoever comes, they stay for a longer period. They will ensure the safety and environmental aspects for their workers and the surrounding areas. By this, we can ensure not only growth, we can ensure the better environment practices we can adopt. And other things, this railway sidings we are developing and reducing the truck distances, so that in longer run, mostly by wagon loading and belt conveyor and silo loading is being adopted. And the diversification of also in solar, we will become net zero company by 2023-24. Right now, our focus in the next 3 years by going to 1,000 megawatt installation each year in solar. In the next 3 years, our target is to touch 3,000 megawatts. At present, we are consuming about 800 megawatts. So by installing 3,000 megawatts, we will become a net zero company by 24, end of 24. So by adopting such practices, Coal India, I am confident that Coal India will be a front runner. It always remained a unique position in the coal production. And looking the future of the coal, definitely up to 2030 and to 2040, under any national energy policy to see, or any future projections, though the percentage of coal in the energy mix will be reduced, but it will be remain for the next 15 to 20 years, and the position will be stable. And I don't think there is any threat to the coal industry right now from solar or anything. Both will have their own share in this. And I thank the organizers in inviting me. And I conclude my opening remarks, and I will participate in the panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad. We do hope that Central Coalfields Limited must be having some diversification plans for the future, given that more and more we'll be shifting towards alternate sources of energy.